That's making me emotional because that's too real. Welcome to my channel. This is Sinag and welcome to a new video. Before we start, I just wanted to say that this is supposed to be a themed reading vlog, but then after reading this first book, I'm not in the mood to continue doing this, and so I scrapped it. As a mood reader, I don't really want to dictate what I wanted to read and when I will read those, and so I just decided to scrap the idea and just forget that I am supposed to do that. But then I already have this documentation, these clips that I had while reading the form, and also I made a review at the end of my overall thoughts towards it, and I don't want to waste my efforts in filming those clips, and so I decided to just post those, or to just make it a separate video wherein it only includes that reading vlog part and the review part of the farm. That's it, and let's now go to the actual video. The Farm by Joanne Ramos. So this one, actually, I don't know anything about it, but the cover and the title intrigues me. And when I searched in Google what genre it said there that it is a domestic fiction, and I really don't know what that means, but I don't want to go to Goodreads because I don't want to be spoiled, because I don't want to know what the description or synopsis is all about. This is going to be my first from this author. I don't know if this author had published books before, but so speaking of the farm, so far it's really fun and it's very chaotic. Right now, I really don't know much about it, but it is about, we have two main characters so far. It is Jane and Ate Evelyn. So, Ate Evelyn, or Ate, as per what Jane calls her, is her older cousin. So, Ate is actually, I think, 70 plus years old, and Jane is in her 20s, I think. And Ate is a baby nurse, so she's a nurse for babies, for newborn babies. And Jane just recently gave birth to her daughter, Amalia. First thing that happened kasi is Ate was advised by the doctor to take rest, ganyan, because she is extending herself too much, and I don't know if she has medical conditions. I don't know if she is currently experiencing some medical conditions, but the doctor advised her to take rest, and she can't do that because she is currently on contract with the Carters. So the Carters are the family that she is currently working with. So they had a baby, so the baby's name is Henry, and because she can't really go to work because she was advised by the doctor to take rest nga, she make Jane, her younger cousin, to replace her for a while she is recuperating. From where I am right now, Jane was tasked to take to be the substitute of Ate in that house. First of all, I don't want to give any spoilers if there are some, but my initial reactions, I just wanted to say, based from what I have seen so far in this one, I really respect nannies and baby nurses more right now, especially seeing in this book how annoying children are. And to be honest with you, I am not I don't like children. I don't like babies. I like babies when they are laughing and when they are fun and they are sleeping, but when they are crying and all of that, I don't like them. And so I kudos, a lot of respect to the nurses, the baby nurses, and the nannies out there who who has a lot of patience towards these children, to these annoying children. But anyway, let's talk about my expectations of this book. So I think because as what I've said, Jane recently gave birth to Amelia, and because her cousin Ate needs a replacement on the character's house, so she took that replacement, or she became the substitute, and because of that, her time with Amelia lessened because she was to stay in the house, so have a day off, I think, and she can't go home every night, like she's staying there with the Carters, and so Amelia was given, or the task of caring for Amelia was given to to Ate Evelyn, and so her time with her daughter dramatically lessens, and she was now in a position wherein she takes care of someone's children other than her. So it's a very parallel, I don't know if that's the right word, but parallel thing that happens to domestic workers and caregivers from the Philippines who do their job outside or internationally. And right now, I'm kind of getting a bit of an emotion, of kind of sadness, because we can see from the very start that Jane really loved Amelia, and I don't know, I'm scared because since this is fiction, I don't know how this is going to end. So if you don't know, I am a romance reader, so I am always assured that by the end of the book, the hero and the heroine will get together, and basically there will be a happily ever after, or happy for now. So basically the end will be happy. But in this one, since this is fiction, I don't know what the end will be, and it scares me. And I think for me, I think Jane will get closer to Henry more than to her own child, and maybe if we're going to see Amelia grow up, Amelia will resent her for it, or will be very jealous of the attention that was not given to her, something like that. Or Jane will be resentful in the long run because she was not given longer time to spend with Amelia, and I think Amelia will be much close to Aunt Evelyn than her own mother. That's my prediction. This book made me realize that I like reading about pregnancy and babies in books, and that says a lot about me because one of my favorite tropes is surprise baby or surprise pregnancy, or hidden baby, hidden pregnancy, all about that relates to babies and pregnancies. And this book just made me come to realization and notice that pattern. And I don't know, because in real life I hated the idea of pregnancy, and I don't like children, I don't like babies. I'll update you once I have something more to say about this book. I finished The Farm, and so we have 4 main characters. So I have notes pala, since I have a lot to talk about with this one, and I want my thoughts to be concise. And anyway, because I have a lot of thoughts. So anyway, we have 4 main characters, or four point of views in this one. So we have Jane, Ate, May, and Regan. So let's talk about them one by one, and then the themes, and then the ending. So I think she's our main character. So Jane is very naive at the start, which is true to her character because she's very young, and she is a single parent to her daughter Amalia, and she is living with her older cousin, so Evelyn, so Ate Evelyn, she calls her Ate, and they used to live at the start of this book, they are living in a dorm with a lot of renters, and basically the living situation isn't conducive or isn't appropriate for a baby which she has, and she and ate basically was kind of struggling with their life and their job, especially Jane in this one, but she isn't a high school graduate and she has a baby and she's very young, so she has little experience with working and doing jobs, so she's basically under the wing or care of her Ate Evelyn. And from what we can see with Jane's growth here, she is at first, well, throughout the entire book, she's very easily influenced. Like, she's very vulnerable, and I feel so heartbroken for her because for me personally in this book, she's the one who gets all the what do you call this, the trouble, or for she gets all of the consequences of the trouble that was created by other people. She gets the brunt of it all, and I feel so sad for her. And her main motivator in this one is her daughter Amalia. So everything that she does is for her daughter, which we can see the same thing for Ate, because her main motivator naman is her youngest son, I think, Roy, which has a disability in the Philippines, and whom she wanted to bring to the US for treatment, but she can't do so because of lack of funds and traveling through visa, something like that. And we can see, and okay, before I go with the theme, Ate on the other hand naman was very opposite of Jane. She's very she's very flexible and business oriented. Like, that all of the things that she's doing has a purpose, and all of those are for getting more funds so that she can bring Roy to the US and get him to treatment. So there's no correlation really in here, but I just wanted to point out from my observation from the people I know, since Ate in here is around her 70s, I think, and she's very old na. So she's actually older than my nanay or my lola, my grandmother. So I just noticed that for our elders in here, they have this kind of tough love parenting, and we can see that in this one through Ate, because she has a lot of things that she said a line in here that said that she don't want, or this is not non-verbatim because I didn't took note of the quote, but she does not want her children, or she's advising Angel, because Angel is another Filipina in the dorm, and she's advising Angel to not spoil her children's, because she is making them like lambs, and lambs were easily devoured in this hard world or hard society, something like that. And that notion or that thinking, I have seen and heard that a lot from different elders. Jane and Ate's characters, we can really see the meaning of family, and we can see that whatever they're doing, all of their sacrifices was for their family, and that just hit so hard with me. And I don't know, because we have a lot of OFWs, or overseas Filipino workers, and they also, and basically Ate is an OFW din kasi, and I know that Jane and Ate, specifically Ate, that is not a representative of a group of people, which is here is the OFWs, but it's really I appreciate reading about her, her thoughts and her thinking towards towards what she's doing. Let's go to the other characters naman. So, Regan, she's a white woman and she doesn't have a motivator. Like, she just wants to do something for the world or do something meaningful to contribute for the world. And I don't know. For me, she's the most flat character in this one because I don't see her purpose, or I don't know, she feels like she's just having an existential crisis. I can commend her for being a good friend to Jane, but her entire character in this book is very icky for me. She has this quiet type or quiet representation. I don't know if that's the right word, but quiet representation of being a white savior, and it feels icky to me. I don't know why, but that's what I got from her character. And the fact that all of her hijinks, her and Lisa's doings or whatever they're doing always affects Jane in a bad way, or Jane takes the consequences. It's very doesn't sit well with me. So that's Regan. She's basically kind of a catalyst to different things happening in here, because with regards to Jane, because Jane is a very passive character, and which is true to her character naman, because she's naturally obedient, and she was trained to be obedient by her ate, because that's what she deems that's what she deems the white families like. Because at the first of this book, her job is to substitute ate in the baby nursing kind of job, or nannying, something like that. And so obedience and being easily instructed what to do was kind of her main characteristic, something like that. And so she's very passive in this one, and Regan is the kind of character that is very active, that to the point of recklessness na. And both her and Lisa is like that. That's her point, I think, in this book, is to encourage Jane to do something, or they're doing something so that Jane could continue it, something like that. Anyway, I don't know if that's what contributes to me perceiving her as kind of a white savior thing, because all of the actions that Jane has done was thought of and planned by Regan and Lisa, which both are white women. And I don't know if that's just me. That's how I perceived her character. So let's now go to May naman. So May is a very interesting character for me. May is a hashtag girl boss, and she's actually a great team leader, and we can see that from their meetings together. Like, because we're in her point of view, we can see how she encourages her team members to speak and to collaborate. And in terms of leadership, I like her leadership. I like how she engages with everyone. But with that leadership, or at least with her character, she's very cunning and manipulative. And the thing that I don't like about her is that she basically throws her morals out of the window for her success, which is her main motivator. And which, the thing is, I'm kind of, what do you call that, 50-50, or I don't really know what to think of me, because she's just a human being. And as we all know, as humans, we have we are not good or bad, and there's no such thing as goodness or badness. I think there is a spectrum, and we all have what we deemed as good and bad characteristics in us. And so me, I think, because her main motivator is success, so she's doing what she thinks is right for her to achieve her success, which I kind of can relate because even I want success more than, because here in this one, she's in in contrast, or she's opposite to what Jane and Ate's motivations are. Like, her motivations is based on purely for the self, which is not necessarily selfish, but her motivation is for herself, which is success for her, while Ate and Jane's motivation is for their children, Roy and Amelia. And that basically means that they would do everything for other people, which is the opposite of what May is doing. And for me, if for me right now in my life, I am more what do you call this? I can relate more to May, because I can relate more to May. But the thing that is making me I can relate more to May in that sense that I am prioritizing myself and something like that. But anyway, we get to see in this book the different, or the gray morality of a person, specifically May. Like, she has both of the perceived good and bad characteristics in her, but at the end of the day, after or upon reflection, you will realize that she's just a human being. Because at first I was thinking that, oh, she's the main villain in this one because of the things that she's done. But when I was writing this notes for me to guide while doing this review, she stood out to me as just a human being who has her own priorities in life. And just because her priorities are different from Jane and Ate, which are our main characters, it doesn't mean that it's bad, or it doesn't mean that her motivations are incorrect. Before we go to the themes naman of the farm, I just wanted to point out as well that there's a scene in here with a side character named Didi, and Ate was asking her how she come to the America. Basically confided in her that she was brought illegally to the America by fellow Filipino family, and she was blackmailed by them to work for them without pay, or else she will be brought to the police. I don't know really the law with that, but she was scared, obviously, and so she worked for them without pay, and she's basically kind of a slave to them, because they are making her work for free, against her will. That scenario, or that scene, I have heard from people I've known, and that's the reality. And the thing that I hated the most, and this is making me emotional even while reading that book and while writing my review, is how even our own people can and will exploit us and trick us. And I don't know, that just hits hard because I have seen a lot of that circumstances in the news, and from the people that I've known, and it's just sad and heartbreaking to read that even your own people don't have the right, the right intention for you. That's making me emotional because that's too real. So sad for all of my kababayans who experience that and is experiencing that, and to their families. Anyway, let's talk about the themes naman of the farm. So basically, the entire concept of the farm for me is very interesting at first, because this one the premise of it can be a great thriller story or plotline, but upon reflection and knowing that that this happens in reality, but in reality it's much more shadier because there's no business, there's no building, there's no contracts, and it's horrifying to read. And the thing is, the farm, the entire concept of the farm is about making women's bodies or treating women's bodies as commodities, specifically or especially those that are racially marginalized, from the racially marginalized communities. The fact that when they are in a meeting and when they are talking about the women's that in their program, they are referring to them as numbers and not with their names, it removes humanity from them, and it can be made as an excuse for them to not think of the morality and the what do you call this, the hosts as human being. And it detaches emotions and attachment toward this toward the people that they are using for the benefit of the rich, because that's basically it. They are being sold, the bodies of these women were being sold to rich people who don't want to carry their own children. And I know there's a lot of discussions that can be made with that. Before we talk about the overall thing, let's go first to the ending. Okay, so the ending is very bittersweet for me. I think all endings of general fiction or literary fiction or fiction ends with a bittersweet note. And I don't know what I am expecting because I got used to reading happily ever afters in romance novels, and I don't know why did I expect to have that in this book. Well, anyway, the ending in this one, at first, well, the ending is sad, or the second to the last chapter or the last chapter, it's very sad and it's heartbreaking. Spoilers for a little bit. You can mute me for a while. I'll have a spoiler text somewhere in here in the screen. You can mute me for the duration of that text being on the screen. Well, anyway, spoilers. So when Ate died and when Jane got to the hospital and basically seen that because the last time that she's talked to Ate, she was angry with her because she thought that Ate is not taking care of Amalia well. And when the next time that she sees her, she's on her basically deathbed, and it was just so sad because she was not able to say thank you and sorry to Ate, and it's very heartbreaking for me to read. And moving on from that, so the ending of this book, at first I don't like the ending of this book. It made me annoyed, but upon reflection and after doing my notes and realizing or what do you call this, knowing more our characters and really what do you call this, understanding the actions of our characters, it made me appreciate the ending a lot, or it made me appreciate Ate and Jane a lot, because they are only doing their best and they are only doing what they know are the best for their children. And by the end of this book, when we see what Jane's what do you call this, actions for Amalia, it makes sense because her main motivator naman kasi talaga is Amalia. And so and she told me on the last chapter that she will do everything for her daughter, and it just makes sense. So I appreciate the ending. I appreciate how good the characters were fleshed out or were made in this book, and they really felt like real people to me. And I also appreciate what Joanne Ramos, our author, did in this book. And she basically told us in her author's note that she didn't include, or she doesn't have any answer in this one. It is for us to think about and talk about in different discussions with regard to the topics in this book. We get to see topics in here, such as what I've said, the women's body as commodities. We also have here topics such as disability and abortion, because there's a one character in here, Anya, wherein she was made to forcibly abort her unborn child because they detected trisomy 21, I think, in the unborn baby's genes. For them, for the people in the farm, it is considered as imperfection. That's why they forced her to abort the baby. Another thing that's also in here is the colorism in the Filipino community. There's a lot of things pa in here. I don't think that I got all of the topics in here because there's a lot of things that happened here. I think this book will be a great book club discussion book because there's a lot of things that can be talked about and can be explored with different minds, brainstorming or talking together or discussing together. And I am going to look out for discussions with regard to this book because I am very much interested to see and listen and hear what other people's opinions and what they got from the book. I gave this book 5 stars. I actually highly recommend it because it's very thought-provoking and it will really make you think and make you understand why the characters are like that, why the situations are like that, how they affects each other's what do you call this, actions and the future of the next generation. So that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching and I hope to see you soon in my next video or in my future videos to come. Bye-bye!